Welcome guys to another video. I'm Boss FX, and in this video I want to take the time out to go over this platform, TradingView. So to access this platform, you just visit tradingview.binary.com or tradingview.deriv.com. So those are the two websites you can visit in order to be able to view the synthetic index, so such as the volatility, crash, jump, boom, all of those index. So this is TradingView. This is where we go to basically do our analysis of the market before I enter trades. So I come here, do my markup, my analysis, and then I use MetaTrader 5 to basically do trade execution. And in the next video, I will cover how to actually maneuver your MT5 in terms of placing trade, setting stop loss and TP. All right. So on TradingView, up at this section is where we have the different time frames. So if I click this drop down icon, I am seeing all the different time frames. So we have the 1 hour, the 2 hour, the 4 hour, 8 hour, 24 hours, 30 minutes, 50 minutes. So these are the time frames that we use to look at the chart from a different angle, which might present us with a different perspective and a different likely outcome, right? So that's where you go to find the time frames, and the ones that I use the most, I usually like favorite them. So they're always up here, right? So let's say, so right now I'm actually on the volatility index. So how do I get access to the rest of index that are available to trade? So if you want to do that, all you have to do, just clear what's here. So once you clear what's there, then if it's on Forex, you want to view the index, you just go over to deriv. All right, just go over to deriv. So once you're here at deriv, then you will see all the different index that are available for you to trade. So you see index ranging from 10S, 10, 25, 50, 51S, 100, 151S, jump 10, jump 25, boom, crash, everything. So that's where you find the index. So over here on the extreme left is my toolbar section, right? So let's go through this section. So the second item on the list here, if I click the drop down icon, the option icon, we're seeing stuff like trend line, arrow, ray, horizontal line, horizontal ray, cross line, parallel channel, and so forth, right? So the ones that I normally use the most, I tend to favorite them. So the trend line, I use that a lot. Horizontal line and the horizontal ray, I use those a lot. Right? For the others, they're there. You can find a way to implement them however, whenever. So for the trend line, for example, it is a very dynamic line you can use to draw however on the chart diagonal lines to match probably descending highs, or even to match ascending lows, right? Or just to draw a or horizontal line, or however. Right? So I tend to use a trend line a lot from that section. The horizontal line as well, and as well as the horizontal ray. All right. So use them anywhere you want to highlight zones, or however you want to use them. All right. So next on the list, we have this section right here. So as you can see, a lot of stuff is right here, but the only thing I use from this section is the fib retracement. If you haven't watched the video as yet on the fib retracement, then please do so to get a better understanding of how I go about using this tool in the market. All right. So the next item on the list toolbar section is this. And as you can see in this section, we have like the brush, highlighter, rectangle, ellipse, the path, curve, triangle, a lot of stuff. And in this section, as you can see, a lot of stuff is as added as my favorite. So I tend to use a lot of stuff in this section. So like the brush, I tend to use the brush when I'm doing markups on my chart because I'm a person, I love to mark up my chart, you know. I love to mark up and identify detail points that I should take note of in the market. So I would use the brush to like highlight and draw certain things on the chart and so forth, right? Highlighter, the highlighter works in a similar fashion, right? Similar fashion used to draw and highlight areas of interest on the chart, right? What else do I use from this section? The rectangle. I tend to use the rectangle a lot because the rectangle is what I use mostly when I'm, getting in my zones, right? When I'm getting in identifying areas of interest, I use the rectangle a lot. And you will come across a video where I'm explaining how to actually get in zones, area of interest and price reversal zones using the rectangle and, all of these tools, right? So, yeah. Next, yeah, don't really use the others that much. Next, this here, you can add like text. So if you click text, you can add whatever text you want to add. So, VIX, take profit, whatever thing you want to write, guys. Let's say you want to have up there as your take profit or whatever, however you want, that's just a illustration how you can use the text box on a chart. Arrows, if you want to implement arrows, however on a chart, they're there to use, right? They're there to use. So you just have to find a way to implement them. You have this section. I don't really use anything from this area, but they are there. You can find how to implement them. This section, I tend to use this section a lot because guess what? It has what is called the long and short position tool. And I find them right here. So I tend to use that section a lot to get in these tools, that we use when buying or selling. All right, so short position, similar fashion, right? So next, we have this. I don't really use much stuff from there. Then we have like the ruler, which I don't really use that much. You have like magnets and, things the lock. If you draw something and you don't want it to erase, you can lock it. So I click lock. You notice this line that I draw earlier, it cannot move, cannot move. So if I unlock it, boom, I'm able to move it, right? So that's what the lock is for. If I want to like hide some stuff like at the drawings, I can click right here. If I just want a blank screen with just the candlesticks, I can click that, and then if I click it, then my drawings reappear. If I want to do a mass delete, I can click here and it remove everything, every drawing, So let's say I mark up my chart and I need to get it erased in one go. I can just click this bin over here and boom, everything is erased. All right. Now, let's say I do some drawing. So let's say I'm looking at VIX 75 index and I'm looking for a potential buy or sell and I mark up my chart. But I want to look at a different index, right? The best thing you have to save, that is recommended. Once you do your chart markup, it is very important that you save what you mark up. So if you should go on a next index and you should go back on that index, everything will be there. So in this case, let's say we mark up, have a markup on this index, and we wish to look at VIX 50. We don't want, when we switch to VIX 50 and come back to VIX 75, we have to do a markup again, go through that process. You know, we want it to save. So in order to save your markup, you want to click on the icon up here where it says save. So when you click on it, it will ask you for a name that you wish for that index to be saved for. So since we're on VIX 75, we can just put that VIX 75. So boom, we click save, right? Save. So if we should now skip to a different index. So let's say we want to check out VIX 50. See what's taking place on VIX 50. We can switch to VIX 50. Let's say we do a markup on VIX 50, right? Let's say we do a markup on VIX 50 for a potential move, right? And we have interest in VIX 50 in which we wish to save it. So eventually, if we should come back, we don't have to go through the process of marking up VIX 50 again. So if you just click save right here, it will erase what we saved previously on VIX 75, and it will now capture this, what we have on our screen. So we don't want that. We still want both of them to be available to us for us to view them, right? So for that to happen, you have to click the drop down icon, then you click on make a copy. Make a copy. We don't want a VIX 75 copy. We want a copy of VIX 50 only. So we're going to remove what's here and rename it as VIX 50. So we click on save. So now we see it change to VIX 50. So let's say we want to return back to our previous markup that we did for VIX 75. We click the drop down icon right here, go to load chart layout. Once you click on that, we just click back on VIX 75. And then boom, take us back to our previous markup on VIX 75, just like how we left it, right? So save. So you always want to be saving your work, guys, as you go along, right? And that is exactly how you're saving. And here is where we find like indicators. If you're a person that implement indicator, any form of indicator in a trading, whether it be the RSI, EMA, the SMA, the Bollinger Band, you know, all of those indicators can be found right here, right? So this tool down here, so you see, once you like on the toolbar section, once I add anything, any of the tool as favorite, they will pop up on my screen. So look at this. Let's say I add the circle as favorite. If you notice, it just pop up in this section. Why? Because you see, when you have it like this, you favorite them, you always have it on your screen hovering. So you don't have to always come in here to select and get it a tool to use. It's always on your screen, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it for this trading view tutorial. Like I said, this is where all the markup is done, all the analysis before I normally look to enter a trade. And I normally enter a trade or execute a trade using MetaTrader 5. So check out my next video on how to enter trade and place stop loss, take profit, and lot size using MT5. Catch you in the next video.